Hello and welcome to the Coralogix DataPrime Academy course. We're about to dive in and get hands-on with the DataPrime query writing. But before we begin, if you want to follow along, that is, it'd be a good idea to have an active Coralogix account with some data flowing in. And if you don't have any data, pause this video, follow some of our OpenTelemetry integration guides on our website. You'll get much more value follow along with some real data. So for example, go get the hotel demo app and plug it into Coralogix. So if we're ready, let's begin and let's start learning the DataPrime query language. So if you followed along in the previous videos, the theory, you'll know that DataPrime is a pipeline-based query language. Every query will follow this structure. It will always begin with source. And the default value for this will always be logs, unless otherwise stated. So I can go for spans, for example. For the purpose of this, we'll start with explicitly saying logs. And with the source of logs, we can already instantly put a time range on this. As we can see, the autocompletion is already doing this for us, but I want to go all logs for the last 4 hours, for example. Now, to run this, you want to press Shift-Enter. Enter will take you onto another line, and also know that white space is not considered in DataPrime, so you can freely put your queries onto new lines. Let's run this. Okay, so we have just processed almost 3.8 million logs in the last 4 hours there, almost instantly, which is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But we want to break this down a bit further. So we need to start thinking about the pipe-based structure. So let's go into a new line, and let's use our first pipe. And we want to use a filter. So as I'm typing, you can see it's already completing this for me. Now, I want to do logs based on severity. So for that, I'm going to go into the metadata namespace. And for that, we'll use $M. And we can see now we're starting to get that come up. And we can see as I'm typing severity, it's auto-completing for me. If I do ==, then we can look, there's error severity. We can select that with the arrow keys, press tab, that'll select that, Shift-Enter, that'll run that query. We have, in the last 4 hours, 37,000 error logs. We can see some of the error messages in here, etc., from our front end. Looks like these are coming from our front end hotel demo app. Okay, cool. But we can break that further. I've just said there, I want to see our front end demo, but I haven't actually explicitly said that. So let's go in and have a look. But before that, let's speak about the namespaces. So in our theory, you would have seen this, but let's go over it again. DataPrime organizes data into 3 namespaces. $D for data, so that's your log content. Your parsed JSON fields like $D for message, as we can see here. $D HTTP response status, for example, user ID. We have $M for metadata, which is the system fields like timestamp, severity, log ID. We have $L for labels, so that'll be like classifications like application name, subsystem name, computer name. Let's start using a query using each of these different namespaces. I'll show you the auto-completion again in action. So let's take away our first filter from before, and let's use $L for label. And let's look at subsystem name. Let's look at our front-end service from our hotel demo. So as I'm typing here, we can see front-end, use the arrow keys, tab select, enter onto a new line. Let's another pipe. Filter again. This time we're going to use $D for data, and let's look at, as it's the front end, it'd be a good idea to look at some sort of HTTP response. Let's look at HTTP response status, sure. And just for the interest of getting some data, I'm going to do anything not equal till nil, and to do that, I'm using !equal. Anyone familiar with Prometheus will know that. So enter again, and let's go for another filter. And let's choose our last one, $M, metadata, severity. And let's look at everything with error. Again, notice the auto-completion coming up. It's a really good way for knowing what's next, learning the language. And Shift-Enter will run that. So in the last 4 hours, we have 30 logs from our front end, just giving us some error message. Fantastic. So that's a good first opening episode. We have seen how the structure works, the pipeline-based syntax. There's no white space. I invite you to go and use this yourself. Start looking at your own data, seeing what you can do, try different filters, and see what's available to you with your data. In the next episode, we will look at the query assistant to further help with our learning. We can use natural language to describe what we want to do, and DataPrime will build it for us. And we'll talk more about some more functions as well. So see you in the next episode.